There are two things of national importance. One is the Supreme Court case about the new ordinances. They have introduced two ordinances. Vikram, can you tell what is the difference between ordinance and a law?
Sir, ordinance will be passed by president or governor when the parliament is not in the session.
And if the government feels that it is necessary to enact, then they will introduce the ordinance, and then later within 6 months, it should be approved by the parliament or legislative assembly, whatever it is. I think Mahapatra Sahib has come. Even then I will discuss about two things. One is the Supreme Court new ordinances regarding the petitions they have with them regarding the tenure of chiefs of CBI and the ED. ED is Enforcement Directorate. Enforcement Directorate, they go and conduct all raids on the money lenders and people who have squandered money. So the tenure of this chief of CBI and executive the enforcement director have been increased to 5 years. But the government has put a clause saying that it can be extended or it can be cut off. So the tenure is not a permanent one. You are joined as an IAS officer and your service is there for 33 years until you get your 60 years. But here in this case, they are not allowed the officer to continue for 5 years. At the will and pleasure of the Prime Minister, he has to step down. So one lawyer, 1 year back, 1 year extension was given to a retiring officer with retrospective effect. And SC upheld the decision and cautioned the government to take such actions only rarely. So they are discussing about the modalities of these new ordinances. The second one is 2 days back in Shimla, All India Presiding Officers Conference was held. The Shimla Legislative Assembly has completed 100 years. So they were celebrating the centenary of the Assembly. And in that connection, they have conducted the All India Presiding Officers Conference at Shimla. Who is the Lok Sabha Speaker, Vikram?
Sir, Om Birla.
Om Birla. Who is the Speaker of Andhra Pradesh or Telangana? Can you tell? Lok Sabha Assembly.
No, sir, I did not see that.
Thammineeni Sitaram is Andhra Pradesh. Pocharam Srinivasa Reddy is the Speaker of Telangana. The discussion on the Shimla conference was whether the conference can take a decision regarding the defection law. The anti-defection law is in force. If somebody defects from one party to another party, he can be allowed to continue or he may not be allowed to continue. So in this connection, there are no clear-cut rules. And the law existing was, a committee was formed in 2019 under CP Joshi. And finally, he said, the role of a speaker is in disqualifying a particular person, either MLA or an MP, is to be given to the party, not to the speaker only. The concerned parties, suppose the Telugu Desam party gentleman jumps over to YCP, then the party has to take a decision whether he will be continued in the party or he will be disqualified. But now the rule is speaker has to take a decision. And the parliament also, the speaker of the parliament, either Rajya Sabha chairman or the speaker of the Lok Sabha, they can disallow or disqualify a particular person who jumps over from party. It is in the 10th schedule of the Constitution. Vikram, you have to note down, the defection law is in 10th schedule. And in 1985, when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, when did Indira Gandhi die? Any idea, Ashwini? Which year? Aditi? which year Madam Gandhi died?
I'm
In
not
fact,
sure.
yesterday, huh?
I'm not sure, sir. I don't remember.
Yeah, 1984, October 31st, she was assassinated. She was born on 19th November. So it was an important 1927 she was born, and the anti-defection law was in force from 1985 during Rajiv Gandhi's tenure. The purpose was to bring stability to governments. Otherwise, two people jump over from one party to another and the ministry is stabilized, and it was not there to continue in that particular period. When I.K. Gujral was there, when Devagowda was there, when Charan Singh was there, Moraji Desai were there, these defectors, they were throwing the government into loss. So the government has thought this anti-defection law should come. But now the decision of the speaker is final, but it is subjected to judicial review. But the court cannot interfere until the speaker gives his order. And there is no time limit for the speaker. Suppose an ex-MP, he has joined in another party. Under anti-defection law, he has no right to continue in the parliament. The speaker has to take a ruling. But here, there is no rule that he can do it after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months. There are so many pending cases also. Depending upon the model of the government and the mood of the government, the speaker is taking a judgment. So this is the important thing which we have to think over. And I think our Patro Sahab is ready. Patro Sahab,
Good
will you
evening,
take
sir.
over?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
What we